Hello and welcome back to NoBS. Today we turn to talking about one of the biggest comedians of all time, a very famous, very funny former SNL cast member and stand-up comic named Chris Rock. Chris Rock, of course, has been world famous for a long time now. Ever since his famous stint on SNL, he's been doing great movies, TV shows. He did Everybody Loves Chris. He's been in cool movies. He's done the grown-ups films with Adam Sandler, amongst many others. And yeah, Chris Rock is cool. He's funny. And he's also seems to be pretty based. You know, he's not the most political guy typically. Sure, he's taken stands on certain issues and, you know, he's mentioned things in his comedy specials, but he's not super like political and woke and like progressive like most Hollywood types are. And specifically today, we're going to talk about how he got based about Democrats and has basically called them out. He's called out the Democrats this year, and he really should. I mean, if I was a Black American right now, I'd be extra pissed because they're just being the worst. They're really exploiting the minorities and race baiting and implying that they can't pull themselves up and help themselves. They're acting like everyone's attacking Black people when they're really not. Really, it's the other way around a lot of times, but that's besides the point. Today, we're talking about Chris Rock and some of his new quotes. Let's go ahead and jump into one. This is from a tweet from Jack P. It says, Chris Rock, Democrats let the pandemic come in while pushing impeachment. So right out the gate, before we even get more details, Chris Rock is on point. He's talking about how the Democrats were pushing impeachment in January and February, which was an early time for the virus that started to spread. People started to know about this in late 2019. It wasn't quite in America or in other countries yet, but it was a story some people tracked in China and in Asian countries, and it started to spread, and there was an issue. It came up in January and February. Trump was one of the first people to make a response in America. He started a task force. He stopped travel from that Far East nation where it came from. But during that, the Democrats were working on impeachment. They didn't care about anything like health or about fixing things or stopping the virus. They were just focused on trying to remove Trump and getting him out of office based on these trumped up charges they had against him, which of course is a pun. And I think that was awesome and excellent. Maybe Chris Rock would be proud of that joke. I doubt it though. He's much funnier than I am, of course. But the point is, he's also much righter here. He's getting to the point. He doesn't care about picking sides and, you know, defending Democrats just because he might have voted for them before, which I assume might be the case. I'm not sure specifically. I don't want to speak for him, but really his words speak for themselves. They were focused on impeachment. The Democrats were doing stupid things back then. I'm not trying to go back in time and like Monday morning quarterback this too much, but it is warranted since these Democrats try to pretend Trump didn't do anything now. They try to act like Trump wasn't prepared and caused all these deaths, but they also ignore the fact that look at these guys. Look at this picture. Nancy and all these guys are smiling. They're all happy. We're going to try and impeach Trump. There's Jerry Nadler, Schiff, Maxine Waters, you know, the worst Democrats of all time, all really old and disgusting. And, you know, Nancy Pelosi's 80 years old. I don't know why she's even still alive. She must have some kind of like secret potion to keep in her alive. She has like a witch spell put on her. But the greater point is, yeah, Chris Rock is on point. He's getting some great truths out there. So let's see what else he had to say. In a surprising accusation from a major Hollywood figure, comedian Chris Rock is holding Democrats responsible for the spread of the coronavirus, saying party leaders let the pandemic come in while they were busy pushing the ultimately unsuccessful impeachment of President Donald Trump. Chris Rock made the accusation in a wide-ranging interview with the New York Times, in which he also discussed President Trump and the use of blackface in entertainment. The comedian told the Times that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and other congressional Democrats allowed the virus to spread because they were focused on impeachment proceedings. Now, this is interesting too, because another thing I heard about this interview was Chris Rock actually defends Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon got some backlash for wearing transracial makeup, as they call it, and as I like to call it, I like to call it transracial makeup. This word right here is a bit of a no-no word, so I'm not going to use it anymore. But basically, Chris Rock defended Jimmy Kimmel, saying, hey, it's a joke. Let's not go after the guy too hard. It was also a different time. It wasn't racist or super offensive in the way it was presented. So Jimmy Fallon wearing transracial makeup wasn't the worst thing. I mean, the best part about that was when Jimmy Fallon did that on Saturday Night Live, he was actually impersonating Chris Rock. So that is a very, very good defense coming from the man he impersonated, saying that it was okay. And this also is great to hear because it shows that Chris Rock is pretty cool. It was totally up to Pelosi and the Democrats. Their thing was, we're going to get him impeached, which was never going to happen. That you let the pandemic come in. Yes, we can blame Trump, but he's really the 5-year-old. Democrat leaders showed little to no public interest in the coronavirus pandemic during its early months. In January, when the gravity of the virus was becoming apparent, congressional Democrats staged a photo op in which they solemnly walked the articles of impeachment through the Capitol Rotunda. America. And I think the best part about this is, like Rock said, they knew impeachment wasn't going to work. People that have common sense knew that impeachment would not work. They had nothing on Trump. It was a waste of time and money and tax dollars, really. I mean, these politicians are hired and elected to serve the people, and all they want to do here is like serve their own personal goals. Like, no one cared about impeachment. It's just totally dumb and ridiculous. Later that month, Speaker Pelosi infamously tore up a copy of Trump's State of the Union address on TV, even though the address directly referenced the pandemic and promised that the White House will take all necessary steps to safeguard our citizens from this threat. Breitbart News has reported on how the Democrats' impeachment effort cost America valuable time in its fight against the virus. House Democrats didn't take up the virus in the House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee in Asia until early February. In the Times interview, Chris Rock showed little respect for the commander-in-chief, comparing him to a child ruler. Did you ever see the movie The Last Emperor, where like a 5-year-old is the emperor of China? There's a kid and he's the king. So I'm like, it's all the Democrats' fault because, you know, the emperor was a 5-year-old. And when the emperor's 5 years old, they only lead in theory. There's usually an adult who's like, okay, this is what we really are going to do. The newspaper asked Rock if he thinks Hollywood's rush to expunge all past uses of transracial makeup in entertainment has gone too far. So before we get to the transracial makeup comments, I think it's worth noting that, yeah, Chris Rock is certainly not a Trump fan. He's certainly not saying, hey, I'm going conservative right now. We can agree or disagree with what he has to say about Trump. I, of course, am not a fan. I don't think he's as childish as he claims, but I think he does make good points on the side. If he does believe this about Trump, the Democrats should be the ones being more mature and adult-like, but they're really, you know, they're getting down in the dirt with him. Even though I wouldn't say Trump is acting childish, but in this theory, in this presentation, it's like, yeah, if the Democrats really believe that, they shouldn't be acting childish too. You know, they should be like stepping up and doing the right thing and being the adults in the room instead of, hey, saying, hey, I'm going to go and impeach you. Oh my God, I'm tattletelling. I'm going to get you fired. I'm going to go for your boss. You know, it's like so baby-like and immature. And I agree with that for sure. So if I say they are, then I'm the worst guy in the world. There's literally one answer that ends my whole career. He replied, blackface ain't cool. Okay, that's my quote. Blackface is bad. Who needs it? It's so sad we live in a world where now we have to say, I'm so against cancer. I just assumed you like cancer. No, I'm against it. You have to state so many obvious things you're against. Rock also said that the Obama presidency didn't represent a positive for Black Americans. Obama becoming the president, it's progress for white people. It's not progress for Black people. So interesting takes here. We don't get to the quotes about the Jimmy Fallon stuff. I believe that's in another part of the story, but apparently he's against this whole, oh, we have to say this is bad. Like, obviously transracial makeup is offensive. No one is denying that it's like obviously got that connotation. Should it be allowed or not? I mean, sure, like I'm more of a purist. I'm more of like a free speech kind of person, but if it offends people, they can say that too. But I think the more interesting part here is the quotes about Obama, because apparently Chris Rock is not a big Obama fan, saying it was not progress for Black people. And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, Obama didn't help his own people, his supposed own people. I mean, if you think about it, Obama is only half Black anyways, half Black, half white, raised by white family and all that. So it's not even like he's down with the cause. He was a rich white dude essentially who claimed to be Black to get elected, another thing that's very common this day and age. And yeah, what did he do to help? I mean, think about it. Obama was president for 8 years, 2008 to 2016. And as soon as he was out of office, all of a sudden we had like BLM pop up and they started to say that America was the most racist country in the world. So if that happened, that means those Obama years really didn't help. Obama had plenty of time to try and fix race relations, and all he really did was make things worse. He stoked the flames. He caused people to turn against each other. He pushed this kind of identity politics stuff. He talked about things like, you know, white supremacy and going after middle Americans. You know, he made things worse. Obama was not this kind of savior that they said. The best you could get about the Obama presidency was say, hey, oh, we had our first Black president. But that's just another thing. I mean, we had our first half Black president. I mean, I don't know why all of a sudden he's all Black. They want to embrace him. That's cool and all. But the point is, yeah, 8 years of Obama, and then we come out of that in 2016 and we have the worst race riots ever. Now we're in 2020 and things have gotten worse. They want to try to blame that on Trump. I don't buy that. My point is that it's gotten worse because of the Democrats. They've gone crazy. They've lost their crap and they want to blame Trump for their craziness, but that just doesn't really work. Like, you're in control of your own body, your own actions. Just because you want to go burn down a city or something like that, that doesn't mean it's Trump's fault. Like, you can blame Trump, you could call him racist, but unless he actually does something, like if Trump actually told people to do something or he sent people to burn down a city, then yeah, you could blame it on him. But if the Democrats are the ones going down and causing the riots and the chaos, then it's their fault. And that's a result of all this race baiting that's happened. It's escalated. 2014 is when the BLM movement started under Obama. It had 2 years to brew, and then it got exponentially worse throughout this last 4 years. So to say that Obama saved the country and made everything fair and even and black people are all good now, it's just absolutely absurd. So I'm glad Chris Rock brought that up. I'm glad he had these mentions and these talks about transracial makeup. He also attacked the Democrats, which is always great. I mean, those Democrats are the worst. They have totally failed this country. Nancy Pelosi is probably the worst of them, and she's the leader. She's the speaker, and she's just super old and out of touch. And like, she's 80 years old. Like, why is she still running around in politics? Like, why is she even still working? I mean, what is the point for her? She's really, really rich. She's been in office for many years. She had her time. You know, she had a chance to make something happen. I don't get why she doesn't retire. I don't get it. Like, you got to think to yourself, what is her motivation? Like, if she's not in this for money, which she has, if she's not in this for a legacy, which she has, be it a bad legacy. But the point is, these people are power hungry. They're about controlling other people. They're scary. They're really, really creepy looking. As you can see in this picture, look at this guy behind Pelosi staring at the camera. Like, they're bad people and they really need to stop. So I'm glad Chris Rock could chime in. You know, he had some mixed reactions. He's not as based as I thought initially, but he's still pretty darn cool. That about wraps things up. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you comment your thoughts on everything below. Tell me what you think about Chris Rock, his comments about the Democrats, about Trump, about Obama, and the transracial makeup too. Tell me all your thoughts below. Also hit that like button to get this video shared. Subscribe if you're new, and you can also check out our channel on Facebook. We have a Facebook page under facebook.com/nobullshitvideos. So those are going to be fun. We're going to post more on there real soon. So check out Facebook. Thanks for your time. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next one.